Hello and welcome to On the Couch, a weekly video series where we talk about a range of mental health issues that affect us here in Trinidad and Tobago. My name is Tracy Rogers, and on the couch with us today is Akilah Riley Richardson. Today we're talking about the F word in relationships. So we're talking about feelings. And feelings are often difficult to talk about, oftentimes because they're difficult for us to understand ourselves. And so when you have two persons in an interaction with two different sets of feelings, building or working on a committed relationship, it is often the source for a lot of misunderstandings, conflicts, and could be a lot of trauma and turmoil. So today we want to get real about feelings in relationships.
And I think one of the things that we need to talk about with regard to feelings is how hard it is for us to access those feelings that are aligned with vulnerability.
Right.
We often communicate anger in relationships. We often communicate frustration in relationships. But how many of us say things like, I'm afraid, you know, I'm sad.
So let's talk about what vulnerability is, because it's a big word that we can often get lost with. So when we talk about vulnerability, we're talking about the ability or the risk of saying, this is how I feel, or this is where I am. And it means that I'm putting myself out there. So it's showing up and putting myself out there and running the risk of being rejected or trivialized, taken for granted or dismissed. So it is an enormous risk. So we have had conversations about primary and secondary emotions before, and we said your primary emotion is the emotion that you decide the root of what's going on with you, and the secondary emotion is the easier emotion to express. So oftentimes when we're in an interaction with a partner, we are hurt, and it's easy for us to express anger. And that anger we express may not be the primary relationship, the primary emotion, because the primary emotion means that I have to show up and say something that puts myself out there.
Most definitely. And in our line of work, you see, when we meet couples who are basically speaking secondary emotion, we have to get them to engage in a process of emotional deepening, get deeper. What else is there? And emotional differentiation. Separate. Some people just say, I just feel angry. What else is there? Or I just feel bad. What else is there? What else is happening? And getting deeper and deeper and deeper to reveal what is the real injury in the relationship. When that real injury is revealed, when you take that risk, how does the other person hear it and hold it?
Right.
You know, what does that other person say to make me feel safe now that I've taken this particular risk? Because when I take this risk, I need you to respond in some way to make me feel safe.
So vulnerability cannot happen without some sort of emotional safety.
Definitely.
For me to show up and say, when you don't answer your text, or when you don't answer your phone after we agreed that we will touch base, and I don't hear from you for 2 days or for a day, I feel fearful.
Yeah.
It is easier for me to say, see you? What's wrong with you? And get into this whole thing. And then that person who hears that you are upset because I didn't check in goes into the secondary emotion. What's wrong with you? Instead of saying, when you behave like that, I feel as though you don't trust me.
And a nasty cycle begins. Sometimes we get into pursuer. I go after you, you come after me. Or I pursue, and I pull away. You know, I shut down, I stonewall, I don't want to hear you anymore. Yeah, and that's how, when we don't speak primary emotions, we speak secondary, we find ourselves in these very, very unhealthy cycles of conflict in our relationships.
So we're going to close off then this segment with that thought, with that understanding that we can easily find ourselves in an unhealthy cycle in our relationships, in couples, And to break that cycle, we need to put some things in place. We need to create a safe space, and we need to address what is at the heart of the matter. We need to have these primary emotions conversations. So in our second segment, we're going to pick up with that, and we're going to talk about some things that you can do in your relationships to break that unhealthy cycle. Thanks so much for joining us. Take care.